Hello from the Wildlands.
And we're those weirdos, but not for much longer.
No.
It's all change in today's video, so we thought we'd give you a land chat and an update of our changes and things that are affecting us going forward, including our channel.
It's all very exciting for us.
In July 2021, with the increase in travel restrictions caused by Brexit and the pandemic, we decided to buy off-grid land in Portugal to live a more sustainable lifestyle.
Follow along with our journey as we turn our beautiful but derelict land into our very own slice of off-grid heaven. Wildlands. Big deliberations all over Christmas, haven't we, about this?
We have.
We finally made our decisions and decided what to do. Should we talk about that first?
Yep.
We have been those weirdos since we decided to move into a van. The name was based on the fact that everybody we told that we were going to live in a teeny tiny van with all of us and all of our pets, they thought that we were very odd. Nobody actually said you're a weirdo, but you could see it in their eyes. And we thought it was a catchy kind of name. But for us, those weirdos was all about van life and traveling Europe and adventuring and van, and we don't really do that anymore.
So no, I mean, our intention originally was to find off-grid land and buy it mainly for a park-up as a base in Europe, and not necessarily live there, but maybe have a safe park-up that we could meet up with friends.
And we intended to travel, to keep travelling.
We did. Yeah, and we intended to stick to our sort of previous regime, which was we would stay out in Europe for a couple of months or up to our 90 days and then head back to the UK, do a bit of work, see our friends and family, and then come back over. And with the pandemic primarily, it's obviously making travel not impossible, but a lot harder, certainly more expensive, yeah, with tests and all kinds of other stuff that you have to jump through hoops.
Yeah. That wasn't really how we like to do travel.
No, it's made it all a bit stressful and, you know, lots of planning to do. Even when we came out last time, you know, you can't just book your Eurotunnel and get on. We had to wait for our PCR test, which was then a day late, so we missed our train, and it's, you know. So that, coupled with our changing circumstances, again due to the pandemic. Yep. Those of you that have watched our videos for a long time will know that we are in event management, and we've done that for, well, about nearly 20 years. And without blowing my own trumpet, we were quite successful.
We were.
And we had, you know, a very nice income, and we used that travelling around. So like many of you, you know, despite your views on COVID, which is irrelevant to the purpose of the video, but for us, we've come to the realisation that events are never going to be the same again. No. So we used to run 6 or 7 events a year, and in the last 2 years we've run 1. So that's meant that we were, you know, confident, hopeful, whatever positive words you want to use, that at some point we'd get back to the new normal. Yep. Or to a normality, and events would resume and we'd be all happy and skipping through the woods with our income back on the plate. Yep. But realistically that's just not happening. Not going to happen. No. So because of that, we're rapidly running out of funds, which is fine, isn't it? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's just part of life. Is how it is. Yep. So we've kind of decided, you know, we live off-grid now. So whilst we're still living in our van, and you could, you know, call us van lifers, we're still sleeping in our van and travelling in our van to go shopping. I wouldn't say we're van lifers by being static. No. We're off-gridders who are living in our van temporarily till we build some kind of structure to live in. Tiny house or a yurt or something. So yeah, so it doesn't make sense for us to continue being those weirdos with a channel all about van life. The channel has not been about that for at least 6 months, probably more, because of being stuck inside. So so we are rebranding. That's the corporate word, isn't it? We're rebranding the channel. Our brand is no longer those weirdos. Should we tell them what it's going to be? As you will have seen from our logo and the intro on the video, we are now the Wildlanders off-grid. Because we're off-grid on the Wildlands. So that's who we are. And we've got big plans for the channel. So going back to our budgetary constraints, we've had to revisit our plans, which have always been fluid. And again, those of you that have watched all of our videos on the Wildlands will have seen that we quite often change our plans. So we've now changed our plans in line with our budget and our potential income not coming in from events going forward.
Yep.
So I mentioned on Facebook the area behind the camera, which is flat and ready for our polytunnel. We now can't afford our polytunnel.
No, it was expensive.
It was expensive.
It was many grands, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we were going for a professional polytunnel, and that was based on the advice of local off-gridders, because get a lot of wind at times here in the winter, and then in the summer the sun is relentlessly hot. So a lot of the cheap kind of polytunnels, they either blow away or the plastic degrades. So sadly, because I was particularly excited about the polytunnel, so the polytunnel cannot happen due to a lack of funds. So instead we're going to make our own structure, which is like a giant cold frame, and situate it in the same space so that we can get growing.
Yeah, it'll be a lot cheaper. We're now going to do off-grid on a shoestring, aren't we? Everything's going to be budgety, cheap, but still effective. There's no point in doing something cheap if it's just going to blow away or be rubbish.
So let me take walking cam, and you've got a sneak peek of our new gate there, which I'm going to show you in the next video, and that's a rather funky entrance to the nursery. So I've got walking cam coming down the little path into the nursery, and you can see the rickety arbour, which is where we were sat. So I'm in the clear area where the polytunnel was going to be, and I'll swing you around. It's a very big area. It's about 16 metres long with the olive grove at the end. So the plan is to put a pallet based cold frame up here, which is going to be 2 pallets wide and 6 pallets long. So I've got the pallets coming on Monday, and then I'm going to get stuck in and get that built straight away. So the plan here as well is, because we've got all the extra space over here where you've got the levels, I'm going to put a table and chairs here for visitors to the nursery for when we open to the public, and then the cold frame will be down there at that end, and then we've got a lot of growing area for some beds here. And then other big jobs is the border at the side here needs fencing in to keep the boars and dogs out, and again fencing along the back here and all the way up the side there. So we're going to be very busy building things over the next few weeks, but we'll record everything so that you can see our progress and follow the journey as we rush into the growing season, which I'm very excited about. So on van life, one of the most common questions asked is, how much does it cost to live on a van? And equally, now that we've gone off grid, we get so many people asking us about the cost of land, how much does it cost to build things, how much does it cost to live off grid. So we're going to be a budget off-grid channel, so we're going to show you how we live our life on a shoestring, how we build things as affordably and cheaply as possible without compromising their ability to deliver what they're supposed to do. So as an example, our polytunnel was going to cost about €4,000, and it was a huge structure, and we were looking at starting a business growing plants as well as using the space to grow all our own veggies and fill up the fruit forest behind us. So as I mentioned earlier, we're now going to build a cold frame structure out of wood and polycarbonate. So that will be our first project on a budget, and it's all a learning curve for us because we've obviously never lived off grid before, and a lot of the things that we're trying to achieve we've not done before, or if we have, we've not done it on a scale. So hopefully you guys can follow us on the journey and learn some things for your own off-grid property, or for you know, when you want to learn how to pickle something, or we'll be experimenting and seeing what works.
Hopefully it'll all just be entertaining as well.
Yeah.
Just seeing how we get on and what traumas and tribulations we go through, because there's bound to be some of those as well. expect videos from us about how to do off-grid living on a tight budget, how to live with water scarcity with really hot summers, building using sustainable and green techniques, growing fruit and vegetables, and plenty of us making lots of mistakes and learning as we go.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because obviously we've never lived off-grid. It's all very new to us, and we're living in a new country which has got very different weather to where we come from in the UK. Very, 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 very hot in the summer and pleasant in the winter, but with biblical rain. And I think Portugal gets in 1 month more rain than the UK gets in the whole year, and then that's followed by a lot of heat, so that will impact how we grow things.
And we've never done anything like this before. It's the same as when we did van life. We've never done that before either, and there were plenty of mistakes, and some of them you correct as you go along and you change this and you change that, and some of them you just go, oh well, learn from that, move on.
Yeah, and you make plans which then change as you learn things, or things change.
And we're planning on growing a lot of vegetables, because obviously that then reduces your food bills. We've got to learn to live. We're very much, we think, what do we fancy eating? And then we make that. So you go to the supermarket and you buy whatever you fancy to make that food. And we're now going to switch to, as soon as we have food on the land, that's what we're eating. So it's sad news for you, because if it's cabbages for the month of November and that's all we have, then it's cabbage soup every day for a month.
So a good example of that is our very great friends who are our nearest neighbours, Willem and Art, who've been off-grid for a couple of years. They discovered that one of the easiest things to grow in all seasons was gourds. I'm not a massive fan of gourds and pumpkins myself, but in moderation they're quite pleasant. But they basically said that they eat gourds once a day, every day of the week, and have done so for the past year.
Yep.
And that's because they have them available, they're easy to grow, so they've had to experiment. So tonight we're having gourd steak, tomorrow night we're having gourd soup, we're having pasta with gourd bits in, we're having fried rice with gourd.
Yep.
So that's a good example. And those of you that do gardening or have an allotment or your own greenhouse, you'll know that things tend to come in gluts. So you have no tomatoes for 6 months, and then suddenly you've got thousands of tomatoes.
Yep.
So we wouldn't want to be wasting that glut.
Nope.
So we then have to look at pickling, drying, cooking.
Yeah.
Maybe we've put a solar array in, so we have a freezer to freeze tomatoes for a later date, and then
we might knock up an outdoor kitchen so that we can do cooking of tomato soups and sauces and stuff like that outside, and get it in bottles and get that stored. We're going to do a real homesteading experience. I want to build a dehydrator as well, sun-dried tomatoes off our own land. That'd be amazing.
Drying racks and pickling. And
so all that stuff's going to be in our videos so that you can see how we get on. It's very much living the good life, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A lot of people have said that we're a bit like living the good life.
Yeah.
It's kind of homesteading, off-gridding.
There will be chickens eventually.
There will.
Stick around for the chickens.
Yeah, we definitely want to get chickens. So it'll be a voyage of discovery for us, and for those of you that very kindly follow on our journey, because we're going to make mistakes, so we're going to share that with you. And things will change, as they already have done, such as the Polytunnel.
And there just won't be as much travelling as there was. Occasionally, you know, when we popped out to see that tree for his birthday, made a video about that, showed you, because that was interesting.
Yep.
But that's going to be on the minimal. It's all going to be about the land now. It's exciting.
It is exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've always been the sort of people that have risen to a challenge and found positive solutions when you can't achieve what you perhaps initially visualised. So it'll be about, what do we need to do? How can we realise that as cheaply as possible, but still having an effective solution to whatever we need to do?
We just need to look around here. I'm sure you can see some of it in the background. We wanted to make edging and paths, and so we've just used dead wood from all over the land. We didn't need to buy anything expensive. We did hire a chap with his chipper, Alan. But we used wood off of our land to make the wood chips.
Yep.
So that was a cheap solution.
It was, yeah.
And there's stuff like that that we're doing all over the place.
So the first cheap solution will be the next video, which is I've built a gate and an arch system to enter into the nursery. So I've shown a little sneak peeks on social media.
Oh, have you?
I have.
I was going to say, wait till you see it.
Only from subtle angles.
Oh,
I've not shown the whole thing. So that will be up in the next week or so. So it's a lovely, really cute, rustic, very Instagrammy entrance to our nursery area, which is behind the camera. And then the next project will be building our cold frame and growing area.
Yeah, and I'm still clearing brambles.
Which is
Not
exciting.
done clearing brambles, I'll be
No.
cleaning for weeks.
And then we've got other exciting jobs like continuing the fruit forest. We've got to lay down topsoil from other areas on the land, cover that in manure, which you can now see is now full of grass seeds, which is a nice green manure.
Yeah, yeah. And it's going to be slow, I think. Slow progress, chipping away, bit here, bit there.
Yeah,
But that's all right.
It's always quite funny because a lot of people always say it's a lot of work, but my, haven't you done a lot in a short period of time?
They do, everyone says that to us.
But
we don't think we have.
No, the reality is we're actually quite chilled and relaxed in how we work. So we kind of amble into the day very restfully.
Yeah. I start my every morning by just sitting outside with a coffee for like an hour and a half, just appreciating the bird song and the weather. It's lovely. Would you believe it's the middle of January and it's gorgeous out?
It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
I'll be lucky.
So other things we hope to bring to the channel is we've now made quite a lot of friends locally who are also living off-grid. And I always find that fascinating because so many people have different ways of living or different styles of buildings and structures that they build to realise their off-grid dreams.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we can catch some of that and show that to you as well, so you get an idea of what else is going on around here.
Absolutely. Yep, so we've got friends that are building cob houses, other friends that have made things out of pallets and so on, so hope to bring you other off-gridders in the future and show you what they're doing. So
maybe
it's all
some
very
more
exciting.
of William's goats.
More of William's goats, yeah, and William's goats had a baby yesterday.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Little fluffy kid.
Yeah, and that's something off-grid that you don't necessarily get when you live in a house.
No, your neighbours don't tend to have baby goats.
Yeah, let alone ask you to say, I'm not very well today, could you walk my goats for me?
Yeah.
But it was a pleasurable experience, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think going forward, just generally trying to capture as much of what it's like living off-grid as possible. Yep. And there'll still be, obviously, all the videos we talked about already are more like, I'm going to build something, so I'm going to show you how to do it and show you it happening. But just day-to-day life, I think. I'd like to try and get some of that across to you as well. You can see how many times we tromp up and down the land in a day and carrying watering cans.
Yep. Yeah, and how it feels to live off-grid and
yeah.
what you know, things like, you know, if you want to be warm, because the evenings are very, very chilly here, then you have to chop wood, and then you have to find the wood, bring it up the land, and then we burn a lot of wood, we sit outside a lot. It's all very different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if there's anything specific you'd like to know about the Wildlands, or about our plans, or about a video that you'd like us to make, do put that in the comments.
Yeah, anything you want us to include, we're happy to get bits of footage for you so you can see what it's really like.
And the channel has grown very fast since we've moved off-grid, so thanks so much to everyone that has subscribed, continues to follow us on our journey. Hope you continue to follow us now with the Wildlanders off-grid.
Yes. Yeah, of course we're trying to put out interesting videos for you, either to show you how something is done so you can use that, or just be entertaining and you can watch what we're doing going, oh my god, what are they getting up to this time? I wouldn't have done it like that, because that's always fun to do when you're watching videos.
So with us not having our Polytunnel arriving, time is of the essence. Yep. Because we're a couple of weeks away from when a lot of the growing should begin, a lot of the seeds should be going in.
Yes.
Under cover, and the frosts here last until about March, so a couple of months sooner than the UK, so the growing season is a lot earlier. So it's now going to be all gung-ho to get our cold frame and growing area built as quickly as possible so that we can get growing.
Yep.
So I've kind of got it in my head that we'll get that built in a week. But it is quite a big project.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see how we get on with that. And that's our next big project after I've shown you our lovely rustic gate next week. Yeah, that's it. We've got to crack on. So thanks for continue watching us on our journey now that we're the Wildlanders off-grid. And
so it's goodbye those weirdos.
And hello the
Wildlanders off-grid.
Yep. So we'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.